This is our first overview for Mission 3. We're going to cover lessons 1 and 2. Two vocabulary words that are going to come up in this mission are going to be equivalent fractions. So equivalent fractions are fractions that have the same exact value. So fractions like 1/2 is the same thing as 2/4 is the same thing as 3/6. Those are equivalent fractions. They mean exactly the same thing. We're also going to revisit that term expressions. That's any combination of sums, which are addition problems, differences, which are subtraction problems, products are multiplication problems, and quotients or division of numbers that evaluates to a single number. Expressions do not have equal signs. We are going to use a model during these lessons, and we're going to use a number line. So if you find yourself needing to draw this out, you can draw out a number line. So if we have 0 here, 1, and 2, everything in between those numbers are going to be fractions. So I can break this into thirds. So between 0 and 1 is 1, 2, 3 pieces. Between 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3 pieces. And each one of these would be thirds. So here I haven't moved anywhere, so it's going to be 0 thirds. If I go here, I've moved one spot, still broken into thirds. 2 thirds, 3 thirds are 1 whole. Here's going to be 4 thirds, 5 thirds. 2 is going to be 6 thirds. So in these two lessons, you're going to begin to understand equivalent fractions by drawing them visually. You're going to be looking at them on that number line, or you're going to be drawing a picture representation of them and comparing them to understand equivalents or the ones that are the same. You should be expected to write equivalent fractions by drawing and shading them in on a square, and you're going to show expressions on a number line. So when we talk about showing an expression on a number line, if you had an expression like this, 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 2/4, that would be an expression because it doesn't have an equal sign. I would start at 0/4, 0. I haven't added anything yet. And I'm going to add to it 1/4. So I'm going to hop to that 1/4. Now I'm going to add another fourth. I'm at 2/4. Now I need to hop 2 spaces, which is going to put me at 4/4, which is equivalent to 1. One way to practice at home is to really discuss the term equivalent fraction and what it really means. So you can give an example of mowing half of the yard. And half is the same as mowing 2/4 of the yard, or 3/6 of the yard, or even 5/10 of the yard. 5 is half of 10, 3 is half of 6, 2 is half of 4, 1 is half of 2. So all of these are equivalent, and it would be the same way to say I mowed half of the yard. Another way to work on some of these things at home is talking about fractions and equivalent fractions. So if you were cooking dinner and you were slicing an onion, one slice will cut it in half. 2 slices, you may cut it in fourths. You can look to see what is equivalent. Same thing if you are making a pan of brownies or lasagna. Discuss with your child how cutting the food into equal units will make fractions. If you are taking a walk, you could walk a half a block and your child could walk a quarter of a block. And you can see who walked the farthest, who walked the shortest, or you can just discuss it, even draw a number line to show what that means.